our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go.
Hello again, and welcome to Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. I'm Randy.
I'm Leslie.
And who have we got today?
Today we have the most amazing woman.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most, but a very amazing
Certainly
woman.
one of the most.
We have with us today Rochelle Laskey. She is a local person here in the Phoenix area. She is a dear friend. What can I say about Rochelle? She's a homeschool mom. She's a wife, a ministry leader. And I love this. She is a coffee connoisseur.
Yeah, respect.
Respect. She's classically trained as a musician and vocalist. She is a family logistics manager and travel planner. Rochelle comes to us with a Bachelor of Science in Music from Eugene Bible College and MBA from Regent University. She is also co-founder of a ministry called Fireborn Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also currently a lead
Project lead.
The project
Mm-hmm.
lead for Thrive. And Thrive is a rapidly growing homeschool enrichment program. They have just exploded in the Phoenix area, and they're popping up in other states. Having these alternative education programs is a big topic right now. And that's why we have Rochelle with us. Would you give us a warm welcome as we bring Rochelle in?
Hi, guys.
Hi there. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for being with us. And today's topic really is around how we're educating our children these days. And we have some specific questions for you today, Rochelle, but is there anything burning on your heart you want our listeners to know?
Well, as we talk about education, I just think it's really important that we as parents remember that our family is our number one ministry as we raise kids.
Yeah.
And so I have taken that very seriously, my husband and I both. And so we've been home educating our kids for the last decade. And I just feel like there's so many benefits to it as the world goes a little crazier every day, it feels like, that we can keep our kids close and prepare them for the real world in a really safe way.
Yeah, that's so good.
So appreciate it. And this is our Family Forum segment where we're really addressing current relevant topics in culture. And clearly this movement around choice in education for our country, and there's really a lot going on, public school versus now having school choice. Here in Arizona, where you're at, we were one of the first or the first state to step into that, hey, full-on school choice. The money's going to follow the students. And talk to us about that journey as a homeschool mom. And then now.
Before we do that.
Well, let's do that first.
We always ask all of our guests.
So we're just
and
getting
you just
on
missed
going.
it today. Tell us about your family.
Yeah.
Sure. So I've been married to my husband, Jared, for 21 years. And we have 4 awesome kids. Zechariah's 18, Lydia and Malachi are boy-girl twins. They're 14, and Isaiah's 12. So like I said, we've been a homeschool family for 10 years. It has afforded us the opportunity to have a lot of flexibility in our schedule. And part of our family culture is we love adventure and travel. So we've been to 49 out of 50 states, just Alaska to go. And then at least a dozen countries as a family. So that's kind of part of who we are too. We love to learn everywhere we go. We make education part of our travel. And that life experience piece is something that you can't really get anywhere else. So we love adventure and travel.
Man, that's so good.
We can vouch for the fact that You have a remarkable family.
You do?
We love your kids. We've had them over several times. We love them when they come over. You can't always say that about people's kids when you want them to come over, but we say that about your kids. And they're just wonderful and delightful and trustworthy and significant sons and daughters of God in the kingdom. We see that. You've done a real good job with them. Way to go.
Thank you.
All right. Now
All
you can
right.
ask your question.
Well, go ahead. Why don't you drive?
Well, let me ask you this, Rochelle. Why did you and Jared decide to homeschool your kids in the first place?
So there were a few reasons when we decided that. It was when my twins were on the cusp of going to school full time. And Zechariah, our oldest, had been in a private Christian school. And then it was like, can we afford to do tuition times 3 for the kids? Also, because Malachi and Lydia are boy-girl twins, I thought, I don't want one of the twins to be, quote, better at the traditional school model than the other, and then compare themselves for the rest of their lives and say, I'm the smart one, I'm the not so smart one, or I'm good at school and you're not good at school, or, so, and they catch things at different times, right? Boy and girl maturity too. It's very different as they grow up together. And so those were 2 of the key things. And then again, just like the flexibility to travel and see family, other historical places, and just experience the world together when we're not stuck to a school schedule where someone tells me my kids have to show up every day. It gives me the ability to plan my life the way that I want to. Yeah. And I just know that my time with them is so short. So Zechariah is 18. He actually just came back less than a week ago from YWAM. He did 5 months, 3 months in Switzerland with his BTS, 2 months in Madagascar, life-changing mission trip for him. And it's so wild that I have an adult, I've raised a child all the way to adulthood. And it's awesome because I see so much purpose on his life, but it's also wild because now he's going to go out and not be in our home probably for much longer. So again, the years are short. And so I just feel the need to spend that time with my kids because I want to implant character and that sense of togetherness where I want them to feel like their siblings are friends, not just an annoyance after a long day of school and they're tired and they're worn out and they've only been with kids their own age and, they don't really want to hang out with family because they're sick of being with people or whatever this situation is. But yeah, just forming that really strong family unit is part of our homeschool choice too.
So you shared so many of the good benefits of being a homeschool, but I think because in your minds, this is my story, because in your minds, you'd already decided we are not putting our kids through public schools. We're taking responsibility for our children's education. And so then the dominoes after that were, well, we've got to, right. But talk to us about even before the convenience and the benefits, that decision to say, you know what? No, not, we're educating our kids. We're going to pay the price, frankly. What was that like?
So Jared and I decided a long time ago. I was raised in a really great Christian K-12 experience. And it still had its flaws, and then Jared had just a very mixed bag of, as far as he had a little homeschool, he had a little public school, he had a little private school. It was just, he had an interesting school journey. But for him, he knew public school is not for my kids because there are too many loud voices and influences that would have sway over their little hearts and minds when they're not ready for it. And so again, we just felt like so strongly that we needed to build the character, build the reasoning skills, teach them how to think, not what to think. And that way they'll be equipped for the world. So and this is not a knock on people that send their kids to a public school, but I have heard other Christians say, I want my child to be a missionary to their peers. And I say, that's too much pressure to put on kids who are learning where they fit in the world. And how do we as adults do at witnessing to our coworkers, our barista, our mailman? So why are we putting so much pressure on our kids that they're going to go, win their whole school for Jesus when we haven't given a gospel presentation in the last 5 years? So let's be honest that really the kids need a safe environment in which to grow at their own pace and really develop the character and nature of God in them before we expect them to go be that salt and light to everybody they meet.
Yeah. Before we went live, you were sharing a little bit about the responsibility of parents and their education. Not everybody can afford private school, or they're in our socioeconomic situation in this country alone is there's a lot of requirements that there's 2 income earners in a household. That's just the reality of what it is. But you were talking about the order of responsibility. Share a little bit more what you mean by that.
Sure. I just feel like as a parent, our number one ministry and responsibility is to our family, to our children. And biblically, that's what we're supposed to do, is to train our children in the fear of the Lord, to learn to love him, to learn to love his word, to have character like Jesus, to learn to hear his voice, all of those things that will suit them and help them for the rest of their life. And education is such a crucial piece of developing all of those things within their heart and their character and their whole essence. And so as parents, we should be their number one teacher. We always are, whether we think that we have abdicated it to someone else or not. Our job is to disciple our kids every day. And so for me, that discipleship leads to other subjects areas and to really every part of their life. And so I feel like that responsibility is so important and so strong that we should be their number one teachers.
Yeah, I love that. It's a matter of priority. And so that's not to put any condemnation on parents that have their children in public schools, but it's important to pay attention and not just to blindly abdicate the education of our children to other people without knowing who those people are. Maybe 20 years ago, we had a high level of trust that our educators were doing just that. Mm-hmm. They were educating our children based on matters of education. But you had said something earlier about those people that we turn our children over to for many hours in a day, even if they're teaching, mathematics and geometry and English, the subject, they still are influencing our children's lives. And it's our job to protect them and filter
the voices, I think you should say.
The voices, I think was what you said, the voices of what our children are hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes those voices are really loud and really prominent. But if we can keep our kids seeking out our wisdom and guidance, biblically and from the wisdom that we've learned over the years, it is important for us as we raise our kids that we are the strongest influence and the strongest voice, so that we don't just give that influence away, because we can implant so much into them in those formative years.
Yeah, I love this. And, this sounds great, right? Yeah, we're responsible for our kids' education and, the school. But the truth is, there's some tough choices and lifestyle and quality of life and time and energy. Jenna, Leslie's daughter, has 6 children in homeschools and has it been always that they've homeschooled? I can't remember. I think most of the time. Anyway.
Mostly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's come at a great sacrifice.
The kids start adding on. They have 4 biological, and they adopted two more children some years ago. So yeah, she's in the throes of that. But you bring up a good point. I also was in a season in my life when my biological children were very young, and I was working full time, and they were in the public school system. And I remember coming home from work and picking them up and talking about their day and helping them navigate all of the things that they were exposed to, those voices that you talk about, Rochelle, during the day. And it became apparent to me very quickly that, whoa, this is not going to work. Is irresponsible to turn them over to those kinds of voices. And I didn't have the energy when I came home after working a full day to try to unpack and unravel all of the things that they were sharing with me. And so we do make decisions, and there are costs and benefits to all of our decisions, but from a place of priority. You said it so beautifully, Rochelle, that our families, our children in God's design are top priority. And you might, in our daughter's case, she was making really good money and they sacrificed a lot. They went down to one car and they changed their standard of living because they placed a higher value on the education and the environment, more importantly, the learning environment of their children than they did the things. And again, this is not to bring any kind of condemnation on people. What we want to let people know is you are not a victim to the education system. You have choices, and we want to really instill our listeners today with hope and get them to explore potential next steps for them. Right now, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to get more into those solutions. Are you tired of feeling disconnected from your spouse or children? Do you want to create a home filled with love, joy, and purpose? In this fast-paced, crazy world, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters, your family. The Family School is here to guide you on this incredible journey based on Dr. Randall Bixby's best-selling book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
The Family School provided us with the tools and strategies to build a healthy family culture. It's amazing to experience the transformation.
The Family School is a game changer. Our communication has improved, along with our ability to forgive and stay connected. We now have a blueprint to raise our son and teach him how to lead his own family one day.
The support and community at the Family School are incredible. We're not alone in this journey.
Family School has impacted our family relationally by transforming how we interact with each other, improving our communication skills to create a safe environment for everyone to be open and fully themselves.
At the Family School, you'll discover biblical strategies, practical tools, and a supportive community that will empower your family to thrive.
Enroll in the Family School today and embark on a life-changing adventure. Through interactive classes, personalized coaching, and transformative resources, you'll learn practical techniques to heal, grow, and thrive as you build your family in God's design. Visit our website at www.thefamilyreformationproject.com. Start shaping your family's legacy now.
Join the Family School today. Learn to do family by design. All right, we're back. Transforming Families with Randall Laskey. We have a special guest today, Rochelle Laskey, and we're talking about educating our children. What's the next question?
Yeah, now Rochelle, your kids are getting a little bit bigger, and it's given you some space to become this program lead through Thrive. This is that homeschool enrichment program. And I know it's not a full-time gig, but you are basically operating as a principal on multiple school sites. So what are you seeing are the challenges these students are facing right now in this culture and their parents?
Part of the reason why my boss, Kim, founded Thrive was because she found a need for kids in homeschool to connect and belong somewhere. And there are a lot of great one-off classes or theater groups or music or language or whatever types of programs. But if you don't see the same people week after week or month after month, you never really form a connection, especially if it's only online. She had a program growing up with her kids as she homeschooled, and they were part of it for like 10 years, where they did one day a week together as a homeschool enrichment program. And they got so connected with these families. They felt super supported. The kids got a full day of academics, but they also get that social piece that you can't replicate. It's different from being at home. It's different from playing on a sports team. This school type environment, this learning environment with the social piece is so critical for their full development as human beings. And so she modeled it after that. And what I see nowadays is honestly, some of the kids coming out of other school models, public school, et cetera, are having a hard time fitting in because they're trying to test behaviors and limits. They aren't thinking about anyone but themselves. And so I try to teach them little by little in our morning announcements about our expectations for when they come. Respect and kindness are the bare minimum, right? So we respect one another. We respect our teachers. We respect the building that we rent, things like that. And then that social awareness piece, right? So you guys talk a lot about EQ and things like that, that is becoming a lost art in society. We need to really get back to that, where people think outside of themselves or learn to look inside themselves and see, where does the problem lie with me? What can I fix inside myself that helps me to be better with other people? So that social awareness and social skills piece, we're working on that. And I see kids growing. And as we go through conflict, which is part of life, I remind them, I'm not scared of conflict, guys, and you shouldn't be either, because we grow. As long as we take care of it in a healthy way, you're going to be a more successful adult when you learn how to deal with conflict well. So I've navigated some things with different kids and bring their parents in, and the parents are definitely in the teamwork with me, which is crucial. So that way I don't feel like when they come to Thrive, it's all on me. That's not my job. I'm not their child's parent. I am in charge of them and their behavior and their interactions when they come to Thrive. However, what they learn there, they can take home and they can be better in their family environment as well.
Yeah, that's so good. I think what really stood out to me as you were sharing is a lot of these kids are coming, they're coming from the public school system because parents are looking for alternative educations. And parents, I hope you heard, these are the challenges that these young people are facing while they're in the public school system. That it's a, man, depending on what public, and they're not all bad. I'm not poo-pooing public school. Please don't hear that. There's some really well-run, beautiful teachers and educators out there. But what Rochelle is sharing is these are parents that are pulling their kids out of these environments where it is just, they're alone. They're selfish. They're not learning any real life skills about how to function in a healthy environment.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Rochelle, to those parents out there that are feeling really overwhelmed with this topic of educating their children right now?
I think we're in a better spot than we ever have been in the US with school choice. A lot of things have shifted since 2020, and it has allowed people to re-examine their priorities in a new light and to really decide what is the absolute necessity for my family as I raise my kids with our income, how we manage our priorities in our family and what we really want for the future. And so there are so many options. You know, there's the traditional school model, there's charter schools, there are lots of online options, but now there are so many homeschool options, co-ops, enrichment programs, different types of things. So I would say don't get too in the weeds with all of your options. Choose something and don't focus too much on the curriculum. You can get that right or wrong. You can always change. You can figure out what works best for your family as you go along. But really, to me, it's not picking the perfect curriculum. It's deciding, how am I going to teach my kids character? How am I going to teach them some life skills? I would much rather have them learn to do their own laundry and cook a meal than worry about, do they know every single science fact that's out there? Because what if they're not going to go into the science fields, you know? So I'm much more worried about those practical skills and then those social skills, like the emotional quotient that they can learn to think about themselves, how they fit into the world, how they can manage their emotions. That's something that I see that really needs some work in kids. Managing your own emotions. You have to own your own behavior and be responsible for how you react, how you treat other people. And so you can focus on those things, and then all of the educational piece will come later. But focus on your togetherness as a family too. Like really cement that family bond, because you're never going to get that again.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Yeah.
It goes so fast.
I gotta tell a little joke first, and then I have a question for you. I saw the meme the other day. It was a saying, you might have seen it. It said, "I'm so glad that they taught me about parallelograms in school math." It says, instead of IRS taxes, it comes in so helpful during parallelogram season.
Saw the same one and I loved it. And it just, again, it helps me remember what are the things that my kids really need to learn. Right. You know, when Z's old enough that I have brought him alongside and he has seen our family budget and he has helped me pay bills and he understands those types of things, like how to read a bank statement and how to be responsible for spending and earning your own income. That's a little more crucial than parallelograms, right?
Oh, good. So you were talking earlier about, don't worry about the curriculum. You can always change it or get it right. But, well, as you know, we've talked with you and got some advice from you around we're contextualizing the Family Reformation Project curriculum for pre-K through 12. And really what we've been tackling for this first section here is our EQ protocol, the emotional intelligence protocol, what you just mentioned. How valuable do you think that would be, or what sort of value do you think there would be to have a really good curriculum that's biblically based around how to do family as God designed, but really also include this entire emotional intelligence piece? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, I love the fact that you bring in purpose to the family, and the family together has to decide, what is our purpose? What has God called us to do as a family, and how are we uniquely gifted? Because people who live with purpose are not confused about how they fit in the world and what their role is. And so if kids can grow up with a strong sense of purpose that comes from being part of their family and living out of that, making choices and priorities out of that purpose, they're not going to be swayed by the very loud, frustrating voices of the world. They're going to stand strong. And I think that as we look at society, especially the job age groups like Zechariah is now, I think there is a stark lack of emotional quotient in general. And so the people who have that really solidified in their life are going to shine very brightly in the job market. And I think they are going to be head and shoulders above anyone else, whether they have the specific knowledge for the job. If they have the EQ to handle themselves as an individual, they will be very, how do I say it?
Sought after.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
This is like last Sunday's headlines in Fox Business, how soft skills, emotional intelligence is becoming such a leading factor in recruitment companies, and corporations are looking for those, that people with the same skills, they look, do they have this soft skill, this emotional intelligence? Can they listen? Can they resolve conflict? Can they govern themselves? What we're saying is not just theory or wishful thinking. This is really rubber hit the road decision making today for hiring managers across the country.
Absolutely. And I think part of that too is the analytical processing and reasoning to learn to think critically about issues, and then to apply your morals and values and ethics to that as well. So I am very firmly rooted in the fact that I don't need to exactly teach my kids what to think. I need to teach them how to think. And if I have, I've done my job.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
I'm just really struck, even in the Christian communities, we go to multiple conferences, everywhere around all kinds of subjects. And there was a big move several years ago about adapting our workplaces for the generation that was entering the workplace at the time. So we're talking in the last decade, last several years. And adapting our workplaces to accommodate where these young adults have been has backfired on us. And so just by virtue of what we're seeing, the ship corrects itself. And not from a bad place, like it's from a place of like our heart. Like we see these kids, these young adults who are entering the workplace with a lot of wounding and a lot of family wreckage. And they really wanted a place to belong, even more so than pay. Right. And so, but now we're seeing that we haven't actually really served this young workforce by trying to create an environment in the workplace that made, how do I want to say this, that catered to what they didn't know. What we really have failed to do, and what we need to re-implement back into our businesses and our culture, is to what we're talking about here, teaching them how to think for themselves, teaching them to critically think, teaching them to know how to carry on a conversation, this emotional intelligence. They know who they are, they're talking to, who they are, and being able to differentiate those things in their life. And so I, for one, am very encouraged with programs like Thrive that are coming into being in these last few years now, where the money really is starting to follow our students, and parents really are having a choice. So instead of focusing on how bad things are, I hope all of our listeners today are encouraged to know that right now, anyway, you do have choices, and you are empowered to have more say
Mm-hmm.
in how your children are being educated, because it matters.
It does. And for all the family work that you do, specifically around family purpose and how you live that out, kids who come from healthy families will just have a natural confidence about them, and they will go on to be the world changers that we're raising. And so that's why that family piece is so crucial, because like you said, if they come out with the wounding and a chip on their shoulder or a lack of self-awareness or self-confidence, it will affect their every move in life.
Decision.
But if they are healthy and they know how relationships should look, they will be so confident, and that will also draw people to them.
Wonderful.
So good. Hey, 30 seconds, last word to people that are in this space trying to make decisions about educating their children.
Be super intentional about your choices, because the years are short, and because there are great things like the Family Reformation Project that can teach you how to be an intentional, strong family unit, and everything will flow out of that, and your kids will be healthier for it.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Okay.
much for being on the program today, Rochelle. And I know Rochelle has graciously offered to make space for anybody that just needs a little more, a good brain to pick around school options. Her contact information is down below. You can reach her at info@firebornministries.com. And she would be happy to spend a little time with you and be a word of encouragement and maybe put you in a next step direction that's best for your children.
Thank you for being on the program with us today. It's nice to have the second half of the Laskey power couple. We've had Jared a few times. We just love you guys and your family. And thanks for speaking to our parents out there today in this space about educating their kids. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys. You too.
All right. Remember,
Whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end.
All right.
All right. We'll see you
We'll
next
see you next
time.
time, guys.
That wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3, wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.